Hello and welcome to London's Leicester Square as the UK readies itself for one of the most anticipated movies of the year.
That's right, prepare yourself for half an hour of fun and adventure as we literally take you on a roller coaster ride like the world has never seen before.
And that is just here on the blue carpet. Welcome to Sky Movies, welcome to Tintin.
You look like Tintin.
Oh, God bless you. I'm hoping for parts 2 or 3.
Mr. Daniel Craig!
We are here amongst the glitz and the glamour of the UK premiere for The Adventures of Tintin, The Secret of the Unicorn. And the crowds, the buzz is just happening a little nicely at the moment.
Yeah, very soon the film stars are going to be walking down this blue carpet, meeting the fans as they get ready for the movie's spectacular big screen debut.
Nice, but before it goes all crazy with all the stars and the crowd going wild, let's take a closer look at the film itself.
For people who don't know who Tintin is at all, it spells it out for you very simple. He's an amazing, intrepid action hero.
Hang on, Tintin!
Who is unafraid and ageless and has all the kind of youthful enthusiasm of someone who's not afraid of danger.
You do know what you're doing, Tintin.
Relax! I interviewed a pilot once.
And then he finds this great model ship, which he's incredibly enthusiastic about because he has a love of history and all things that are kind of antique.
Snowy, look at this. The unicorn.
And it kind of goes from there, and that's the adventure.
What secrets do you hold? What's this?
It's very much the kind of the origin of the friendship and the meeting between Tintin and Captain Haddock.
Thanks, I'm Tintin, by the way.
Haddock. Archibald Haddock.
The source material is very rich for Captain Haddock. You know, he's got an incredible heritage. He's a train wreck of a man. He's deeply flawed.
You wouldn't happen to be related to the Haddocks of Marlinspike Hall, would you?
Why'd you ask?
Well, it's for a story I've been working on. An old shipwreck that happened off the coast of Barbados. A man of war, triple-masted, 50 guns.
Because Tintin is the achiever and Haddock is the underachiever. Tintin, makes things happen and Haddock destroys those things that happen.
Did you hit anything?
Oh dear.
The Thompsons, Interpol's great shame, the bumbling detectives, Thompson and Thompson.
Never fear, Tintin. The evidence is safe with us. Thompson, where are you?
Oh, well, I'm already downstairs. Do try to keep up.
In the great tradition of the sort of silent movie buffoons, Thompson and Thompson are foils to Tintin's sharpness.
And Snowy's sharpness.
And they're not even as... Well, Snowy's probably the smartest of all of them anyway.
There's not like one kind of arch enemy that Tintin has, so we kind of had to invent a villain. I think Sakharine does appear in some of the books, but he's not like the arch enemy of Tintin.
You know the value of that scroll. I will find it, with or without your help.
It's actually Haddock's arch nemesis. That's who he is, really. He's really Haddock's enemy. But their characters are all linked to this fateful event that happened in history, and this is the coming together of two bloodlines who are battling for this secret.
That model ship conceals a clue to one of the greatest treasures in all history.
So Tintin basically is the kind of guy in the middle who's trying to figure it out before they do,
This may sound crazy, but I've got a plan.
Excellent.
It is a really great journey for both characters, and it is the the emotional underscore of the whole piece.
Land! We're not there yet!
There's also lots of crazy thrills and spills, and we're in the desert, we're in the ocean, and we go, stuff happens. Lots of stuff happens.
You're about to walk into a whole mess of danger.
For any 8-year-old kid like me who walks into a movie theater who wants to vicariously live through him and have all these great adventures, this movie is awesome.
That young man, what's his name?
That's Tintin.
For generations of kids growing up, Tintin has to be the ideal big screen hero.
And this film has been ripped almost literally from the pages of the best-selling comic book series, and using cutting-edge technology is finally here on the big screen. But it's been quite a journey.
Initially, when Stephen first became aware of Tintin, it was because journalists kept asking him, Did you read Tintin while you made Raiders of the Lost Ark? Is that where you came up with the idea?
And I got a Tintin book and read through the Tintin book for the first time in French. I don't read French. But by the time I got to the end of it, I didn't need to read the language because Hergé's language was a visual language, just like cinema. It was like a filmmaker was showing me a movie he had made, only it was like storyboards in a volume called The Adventures of Tintin.
I just remember when I was a young kid that, there's a period in which Tintin's older than you are. When you are 8, 9, 10 years old, and he's the guy having the adventures that you dream of having. He's your way into this incredible world of exotic places and mysteries and excitement.
Come on!
It's a world that I have loved, since I was 6 or 7 years old. Couldn't even read. I just started by looking at the pictures. That sort of helped me learn to read.
Before he lost consciousness, Dawes tried to tell me something, and I think he was spelling out a word.
What's great about Tintin is the way it looks. There's so much about Tintin. There's just artwork. It's the great panels. It's the cinematic quality of Hergé's drawings and his styles and his use of color. He had a great palette. So we can achieve all of that with this kind of technology because we're in control of the entire environment.
The most simplest way of putting it is that there is no difference between live action acting and performance capture acting. It's another method of recording an actor's performance, plain and simple. Instead of a 35mm camera or now digital cameras, you've got cameras going all the way around the room, 360 degrees.
And action.
What Stephen and I worked on, and we've been working on it since 2005, is a tool set, a sort of a pipeline that enables a live action filmmaker to step into a sort of a virtual world, pick up a camera that's a virtual camera. It's like a PlayStation controller with a 6-inch kind of TV monitor, and Stephen's standing in there and he's looking around, and Jamie Bell and Daniel Craig and Andy Serkis are there wearing suits, but what Stephen's seeing is Tintin and Sakharine and Captain Haddock, and then he's also seeing the sets or the locations that we've built. Empty stage, but through the monitor, it's a Belgian marketplace, or a Moroccan street, or the inside of Captain Haddock's ship.
Put your hands up!
But from getting an idea and taking this game controller and walking into this volume and getting my shot was like when I was making 8mm movies when I was 12 years old. It brought me right back to the very beginning of my life as a director. And cut. Good.
Basically, you're in a big studio in an area what is called the volume, which is an area of the studio.
Matrixy, isn't it?
Yeah, which can be captured by the computer. You act within this space. The whole of the space can be captured. You can't leave the space.
Step out of the volume.
Because you come de-resed.
No one can leave the volume.
You can't leave the volume.
Great Scotland Yard! That's extraordinary.
What is?
Worthington's have a half-price sale on bowler hats. Really, Thompson? This is hardly the time. Great Scotland Yard!
What is it? Cane's a half price too.
Are you going to take charge of this evidence?
It's like you're doing a play at Mission Control in NASA. Because, outside of the volume, there's like a bank of 50
computer
technicians just kind of rendering. It's amazing, and they're right there.
Basically, it's an incredible tool which allows an actor to transform into, all manner of people, creatures, you name it, you can do it.
For us, it's just acting. That's all it is, and then we hand it over to animators who bring the rest of it to life.
I can stand back and look at what it is we're shooting, but every time those images translate to the screen, there's something that even I, standing there, didn't expect.
It all gets down to one thing. Do we have a good story? Do we have a really good script? And do we tell a story that people are going to want to tell their friends about? That's always what it comes down to. Everything else is just a tool and a new way of seeing.
So here we are in Leicester Square with the arrival of the film stars just moments away.
Leicester Square, raise the leaves from the trees and welcome the villain of the piece, Mr. Daniel Craig. Oh, look who it is. It's Mr. Daniel Craig himself. Daniel, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. This is quite special, isn't it? How does it feel being at the premiere?
Well, it's just, this film's extraordinary. It's taken, 2 years to complete. We finished filming it 18 months ago, or 2 years ago now, and the result's amazing. I'm incredibly impressed by it, and it looks like Tintin, so that's all that matters.
I was going to possibly be in on the writing process with Joe and Edgar, Joe Cornish and Edgar Wright. I went to meet Stephen and have a chat, and he said, "Hey, you're an actor as well. Why don't you be in the film instead?" And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Well, Thompson twins are good. Is there another one you can think of?" And I went, "Oh, I've got just the guy. His name's Nick Frost."
You worked with Simon, who you've worked with on numerous occasions before.
Yeah.
Was it just like you again?
I think any time where we get to spend 30 days in a really nice hotel in Santa Monica and shoot a film with Steven Spielberg and Daniel Craig and Peter Jackson and Kathy Kennedy is fine by me.
How you doing? It's cold, isn't it? It's quite cold outside.
Would you say you were nervous then, perhaps meeting Steven Spielberg for the first time? Because I mean, he is a bit of a legend, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I rang my mum straight afterwards, literally. In the car park at Giant Studios in Santa Monica, I sat on the bumper of my hired car and went, "Mum, I just had a meeting with Steven Spielberg, and he was really nice."
Can I sign your lens like Federer?
How did it come about that you were involved in this in the first place? Did you get a call from Spielberg or Jackson?
I did get a call from Spielberg, but quite amazingly, someone rang up from his office to say, "Nick, Steven's going to be phoning you in about 10 or 20 minutes. Can you be ready?" And weirdly, I was making puff pastry for my wife. And it gets to a point with puff pastry where you can't leave it. You cannot leave it. So when the phone rang and I saw it was an American number, I was at a point where I couldn't leave the pastry. So I just had to let the phone ring off. And then there was a message from him saying, "Hey Nick, it's Steven. Just wondering if..." So I think that was the first time in 30 years that someone had not answered his call. I'm amazed I'm here, to be perfectly honest.
Oh my gosh! Did you ever tell him why you hadn't answered the phone?
I said, "Oh God, I was at a really treacherous point with this pastry and I couldn't leave it." And I think he liked my,
your devotion to baking.
Yeah, it's a patisserie.
Magnifique. Magnifique. Nick Frost, have a great evening. It's a pleasure to see you again.
It's nice to see you again.
So there you have it. The stars have arrived, the movie is rolling, and this Sky Movie special is all but over.
All that's left for me to do is say goodbye from Robin Bright and myself, Alex Zane. But for Tintin, I reckon this could just be the start of the adventure. See you soon.
Toodles.